A's curriculum is superb in that all the lessons are totally planned. So there's not a lot of thinking from my perspective. We're able to add to it if need be, because we can look little bits and pieces up. But the fact that the lessons are planned, it's there, it's ready, everything's structured, and we're able to work through step by step with each individual child. And then when the other children catch up to that stage, we've been there before. So it's repetition. It's brilliant.
So my circumstances led me to make the decision, not being able to get into schools, moving interstate overseas. And I was apprehensive in the beginning, having a mindset of what I thought homeschooling was like, who and the type of families that were involved in homeschooling. But having started the program and doing it, all those mindsets and those ideas have completely changed. So we're really enjoying it.
The factor that got me over the line was Conrad, my husband. He has been passionate about homeschooling since we had our kids. And he used to pester me over and over and over. And I was very, very anti-homeschooling. I felt it was a new agey thing. It was the most irresponsible thing to do. And for me, it was just a no-go. And then our kids were probably about 9. My eldest was about 9. And he just said to me, I'm not going to pester you anymore. He said, I'm going to ask you one favor, and that is to get on your knees and pray. And I did that, and almost instantaneously God settled it in my heart. And so for me, it was a God thing. And as soon as I put it to God, the fear just left. And I heard someone say the other day, if you're contemplating homeschool, give it a bash. Give it a bash. And I agree with that. Give it a bash, because if it's just in your mind as a thought, you cannot go wrong. And I have no regrets whatsoever.
You spend a lot more time with your children. You're able to see those wow moments that they have. The fruits of the Spirit as they're learning their Bible verses is a lot more evident. And when they're socialising outside, which is a big issue that a lot of people have asked me about, they're able to socialise a lot more with a lot of different groups rather than just their own age group.
I love the flexibility. I love on the days that the kids are not well or the days the kids are great, the motivation that they can go ahead on their own time. I love when my son has a goal to finish super early and I go into his room and find him working at 6 a.m. because he wants to get through his work. And so that self-motivation is really good. I enjoy the fact that it's all very simple. I don't need to be up to date on knowing all the things, although I'm involved with them. I don't need to be the source of all knowledge. The knowledge is all there contained. So it's a very self-contained course and makes it very easy to run, to manage as a mum.
So I often see a lot of mums who've been homeschooling and they're burnt out because they spend till 11, 12 o'clock every night trying to put a curriculum together. I don't have to do that. It meets all my needs. It's very thorough. I like the foundational blocks that it builds upon. I love the values, the Christian values. I even like Ace with his little tie. And yeah, I just think it's a good curriculum, solid. And I don't have to be worn out while teaching my kids.
Children do work at their own rate, most definitely. They're all at different levels. They're depending on which subject. Some are quicker with their English and they love their word building. And my son loves his literature. Whereas my other daughter prefers her science and her history. So it's most definitely advantageous from that perspective, so they can work on their strengths and we can build on their weaknesses.
The kids are able to work independently while you're doing other things. It's not a thing that you are never home for them. You're around with them, but you can leave them to do their work and they work self-sufficiently, and then I run my business sort of in the home while they're around.
They're a lot more confident. They think more for themselves. They are not lemmings. They don't mix with the crowd just to blend in. They've got strong personalities, they've got strong moral values and characters, especially my eldest girl. You'd see it more in your older children than your youngest for now. She's very secure in who she is, and I think that's because she's in a safe home environment. She's not exposed to a whole lot of different stuff that's happening in the school environment. So yes, I see huge things that are positive for my kids. My little 4-year-old went to school for a season and she hated it. and she used to come home tired, miserable and grumpy, and the minute I took her out, it's like having a different child.
When you have kids in the school system, which is all I've had, there's nearly, and it's ridiculous, a fear of having your kids at home all the time. And that's probably the biggest concern from other parents is, oh gee, I could never do it. It's too hard. I'd be hopeless in managing my children all the time with all the problems they go through. And that too, over time, it just whittles away. Sure, there are hard times, but there are hard times in any family at any time. And I've found that I actually now really enjoy having them around. I enjoy being part of their education.
I think for me personally, it's been the hugest sacrifice of my life. It's something that I never set out to do. I think it's taught me incredible things about myself. I often think God's teaching me something and not my kids, just about my character, just a dying to self. I've had to get on my knees more often. But it's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done. I taught my son how to read and write, and I'm teaching my 5-year-old now to read and write, and I think that's invaluable.
If it's on your heart, you will know it's right for you. There's lots of support out there. The amount of support that I got when I initially started was totally unbelievable. It was from that support that gave me the confidence to be able to continue, and we have just flourished.
If any time that I've had an inquiry or a concern, it's just a phone call or an email away. And because I've lived close to my particular support person, they've been able to pop round. And then on a broader range, the community of homeschoolers support each other as well. We swap books and curriculum and score keys, and there's a real community there. So there's a lot of support to be found, both academically but also within doing your thing as a homeschooler.
I couldn't do this curriculum without teacher support. The teachers have helped me step by step with working out the curriculum for especially my eldest daughter, who's working towards her grade 10 certificate. The extra support, step-by-step support, and the phone calls and the emails have been incredibly helpful. Couldn't have done it without her.
Well, with socialisation, I think that's the biggest myth surrounding homeschooling. Everybody who has an objection to homeschooling brings up the socialisation. In my experience, it's nearly you have to be careful not to socialise too much so you get some work done. I could be out every single day of the week, not just within our homeschool community, but with the friends that we know that aren't in homeschool, with all the kids' after-school activities. They're still involved in community sport and our church, the fellowship programs, the youth programs. And then within the homeschool community, you've got all the excursions, the art, the sport. You can be involved as much or as little as you want. So I think that if you're antisocial, your kid is going to be antisocial in the school system. And I think if you're antisocial at home, they're going to be antisocial at home, and vice versa. If you want to get out and you enjoy meeting people and being with people, homeschool doesn't change that at all.
I love the activity days because it allows my kids to interact with other kids. And sometimes they do things that I don't necessarily do with my kids. And it was just an opportunity for my kids to maybe interact a little bit more socially with like-minded people.
In my own experience, the character traits, the positive, godly character traits through the curriculum has helped the children. And I've seen so much godly growth. The fruits of the Spirit have been incredibly evident, not just in their academic work, but the fact that the godly traits encourage them to actually live out what they're learning as well. That is incredibly evident, especially when we're outside with other families. And other families have asked, gosh, where did they learn that from? And I've been able to say, the ex-curriculum.
100%, yeah. Christ is a central focus in the curriculum. They managed to bring all topics back to the core beliefs, our core beliefs in Jesus Christ. It's awesome that the kids get to learn scripture, that they get to have those memory verses, that they're recurring through their paces. They start off simply and then they expand. The character traits that they're taught in there, which are important in our home, and lots of words that you wouldn't normally hear out in the world in school, that they learn what it is to be diligent, what they learn, what it is to be trustworthy, and it's a core part of the curriculum.
The people that aren't sure about starting homeschooling, I'd say you need to take a step of faith.
It's a one day at a time journey. but I'm enjoying it. I wouldn't do it any other way.
Yeah, I think if you're considering starting it and it's on your heart, and look at the reasons why you're not choosing to do it. And are those reasons founded? Are they based in fear? Are they based in a concern of what others will think? Because if they are, you really need to check yourself, because it's a terrific opportunity for your family, for your children and for yourself.